First of all, Lawler is saying, it looks like we're going to start with a Universal title match, but it's Rey coming out in street clothes. And he comes out. Dominic is in the front row. He's wearing this stylish looking jacket with him and Eddie from Halloween Havoc 97.
Yeah, on the back. Really cool. Yeah,
very cool look. And he says he is here because of Dominic. And Dominic's just watching his dad from the front row. And he goes to continue speaking when Brock Lesnar's music hits. And he comes out with Paul Heyman. Lesnar snatches the mic away from Rey, hands it over to Heyman, but then Rey snatches it from Paul. And I guess that is a no-no, as Brock lost it. And he attacked Rey with 2 F5s. And then Lesnar leaves Rey laying. He goes to the floor. He walks up to Dominic. They shot from this low angle, like behind the barricade next to Dominic. So Brock looked like a monster walking up to Dominic. And you think he's going to walk away, but then he grabs Dominic and just throws him over the barricade. He lifts up Dominic, nearly loses him on his shoulders, just like deadlifts him up and drives him into the post, and then takes Dominic into the ring. He goes to release German suplex Dominic. I thought Dominic landed in Munich after this German. From there...
What the fuck? Oh, God.
He delivered another. Dude, Dominic flew on this goddamn thing. It was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, I'm laughing about the Munich. God. All right.
He hits Rey with another F5. He vertical suplexes both. Then the agents run in. He beats down Pat Buck. He attacks Fit Finlay. Crowd is chanting asshole. And like my negative was like the announcers did not call this with the intensity that it required. They came off way too reserved. And Lawler, like this is not Lawler's forte either to be calling like the big dramatic call either. So I thought that lessened it a bit, but man, was this a very intense angle to start the show.
I agree with you about the commentary. To me, there were moments where I felt like it felt too much like acting, and I guess that's to say, it wasn't good acting because it was noticeable that way. There are moments where I feel like the older team of Renee and Graves and Cole would have certainly treated this with a lot more seriousness, or they'd simply lay out, which I think might have served this particular team better. So, but it's something that it's a big ask, I think, for a novice team to try to like call an angle like this as your very first segment on a live broadcast. So I wouldn't fault like Vic Joseph or Deal Madden all that much. We are certainly seeing a team who had their first day on the job, and I think it'll take some time and coaching for all of them to be able to pull off something like this a bit more effectively. But the angle itself was like, man, really hot, great way to grab your attention to start the show. Brock is like magnificent in the setting. Like the ability that he has to really like just act like a rabid dog is really incredible. He really draws you in, and he did a great job here.
This was a phenomenal angle. I thought very, very well done. Brock was just presented as such a big monster. Rey is always great as like the undersized underdog, but man, I thought Dominic was great too.
Because he flew?
Even his facial reactions and just
I don't know how much of a facial reaction the dude actually had. Like the whole time Dominic was on camera, I was paying way more attention to his two friends sitting next to him, who I thought showed way more emotion from Dominic, who I think has one expression, and that's Dominic.
I thought he looked scared. I mean, I don't know what reaction you're supposed to have as this big monster approaches you.
Well, maybe your definition of scared is that, and sure, it works. And obviously, with him actually being Rey's son, it works. But I just don't think he's, to me, a great actor.
Where do you think that this should go? Because this was much more than just Brock getting some heat going into the Kofi match. Like there needs to be a comeback from Rey in some sort.
Completely. I mean, my first thought was perhaps Saudi Arabia.
Right. Yeah. I think they got to do something, and maybe as early as Friday during the Kofi match, like Rey coming back in some form. And we'll get into it later. There was a promo from Heyman later on in the show teasing something as well. But very, very well done angle. And they showed during the break, Dominic, they did the whole stretcher, taking him out. And Rey is in tears, apologizing to Dominic. And God, could you imagine a story where it's like 5-6 years from now, Dominic like grows into like becoming this, and he goes to avenge Brock Lesnar one day, and this angle gets replayed?
Yeah, I could imagine that.
Dominic goes on excursion somewhere, and then he comes back just jacked, and he's ready to kill Brock.
He turns into Walter, basically.
Yes. Exactly.
They should just have Walter.
They could just get
play
Walter
Dominic.
Come back in a year and call Walter Dominic.
Yeah.
In
He got
letters.
into a time machine and came back to avenge his younger self.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like the Stefan Urkel of WWE.